What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Project D, and today I'm coming at y'all with another episode, video, whatever you guys want to call this little series we got of working on the hatch. But if you guys aren't able to tell by the sound of my voice, this is a voice recording. The original audio did get messed up because of the wind. I might put a little sound clip for you guys of the wind so you guys can hear just how bad it was. We'll be getting started with the outside first, with the exterior. First, we'll be taking a look at this, quick release bumper holder. The rubber band that holds it in place did end up breaking off. So as you guys can see, there's nothing holding on the bumper. It's just really hanging. This could cause some issues later on, maybe when we're going at high speeds or going through some speed bumps. So yeah, this is something we have to make sure it gets fixed. Alright, so going along the car, I just wanted to show you guys some small dings and dents that the car has. I mean, the car is around like 30 years old, so any small, dings and dents, I'm not really too worried about. We could just, take care of that, the body work whenever we get to it. Taking a look at our rear quarter panel and our bumper, it does seem that the bumper's a bit saggy, so this is something we gotta check in order for it to look flush and nice. Our license plate holder is hot glued on, and it does look quite ugly, so this is something I wanna, change in the future. So taking a look at my exhaust, as you guys can see, it is hanging towards the middle portion. It is also very wobbly, and the car actually does scrape, or the exhaust scrapes whenever I go over speed bumps. We might get a new exhaust. So right here we are missing the rear windshield wiper. Right here, taking a look at our wing, it is slightly dented. Here, I'm gonna give it a side angle for you guys so you guys are able to see. Yeah, there's a couple dents on this. I do plan on changing the wing, so I'm not really too worried about that. These window visors are pretty old, so I'll probably have to change them. They are coming off, so that is something that needs to be replaced. Something that also needs to be changed as soon as possible is my tires. My tires are cracked. Yeah, I think I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Yeah, they're cracked. Here's the front portion, or the front side. Here's the rear. The rear isn't as cracked, but they all need to be changed. So, a new wheel and tire setup. Alright, something I did forget to mention was that we do have some surface rust in some areas. And my front windshield is actually cracked. I don't know if you guys can see this little line right here, but yeah, so we got to change that. Alright, so taking a look at the interior, as you guys can see, I got manual windows, so this little window crate is super wobbly. Sometimes it makes it a little hard to roll up the window, so we got to change that. We're also missing some interior pieces, like right there. There is a few miscellaneous pieces I plan on changing later on. As you guys can see, my center console is held up by hopes and dreams. It just comes off like this, so it makes like a little rattle. The carpet is ripped, so that is something I plan on changing as well. So the headliner is non-existent, as you guys can see. So we're stuck with this little black fabric that usually is where I guess the headliner goes. And then my window visors do make like a slight screech noise. And oh, what the hell? Look, if y'all can't see, there's a receipt holding up my window visor because it kind of dangles. So, and then in true Honda boy nature, we got the ECU on the ground. So yeah, I want to get it mounted up because I don't really like it just being there. Alright, y'all, so as we go to the back to take a look, as you guys can see, we have the nitrous kit right there on the side. We have some subs, and if you guys don't know what this is the the cargo cover. If y'all didn't know, those are pretty expensive to buy, so it's a good thing we have that already in the car. And then something that's also messed up is this floorboard. This is pretty common in most Civics and Tegras. These end up breaking, so I'm not too worried. There's many videos on how to fix it or replace it. So I did pick up some oil earlier because we will be doing some maintenance on the car in the next clip. This is my first time working on a car, so I'm a little nervous, but you know what they say, fake it till you make it. So let's put on some gloves and let's act like we know what we're doing. Nah, I'm just playing, y'all. But as y'all can see in the engine bay, there is a few things missing. If you guys don't know, I think I pointed out right here. We are missing our power steering and our air compressor, so we got no AC and no power steering. Also taking a look right here, we are leaking a little bit of oil from this cam seal. I try to show you right here. I did buy the replacement part, so we'll also be changing that later on in the video. Right here, I'm just trying to take a look at our oil levels just to try to see how our oil's looking. As y'all can see, that shit looking like it's chocolate. But let's just put it back because we better put some fresh new oil in. Alright, so I'm going to try to walk you guys through the process of doing an oil change in case you guys have never done one before or would like to learn. Alright, so you get started by finding yourself a jack. You know, this is used to raise up the car, and you try to look for this pinch weld, as you guys can see right here. This is a pinch weld, that's what it's called. It's used as a mounting point for your jack in order to lift up the car without causing any kind of damage to the subframe or anything. Yeah, so here's just me just trying to line it up to make sure it's fully centered. That way when I raise it up, there won't be any issue of it just kind of slipping off or falling.
Oh shit.
Alright, so after you got the car jacked up, make sure you put a piece of cardboard or something on the bottom in case you do spill a little bit of oil. This will help prevent, leaving oil stains in the floor and everything. This is also a good time to look at the underbody of your car to see if anything looks out of place. As you can see in mine, I show you guys the exhaust that is hanging. And this also helps to make sure that the jacks and the jack stands you put are actually helping. It did take me a little while to locate where the oil filter was. The oil filter housing is different in each car, but for any B series, I believe it's under the intake manifold. And yeah, that shit was hard as fuck to take off. Alright, so the oil drain plug is a 17mm bolt. So we grabbed our size 17 and got to work. Right here is me just checking out the ratchet, making sure it's lefty loosey, not righty tighty, because the last thing I want is to break the bolt. The bolt was giving me quite some trouble, so I went to go get like a little extension bar to use it in order to get some more leverage in order to break it off. Alright, so at this point I couldn't take off the bolt and I was getting pissed off, so the gloves had to come off. Now it was time to muster up some courage and break this fucking bolt off. And as y'all can see the exact moment where it breaks off. Look. Boom, that's all you see. Alright, so after the bolt's loose, all you want to do is just line up your catch can. Check out this lineup though. And then once you unbolt it, oil should start draining. We got a little bit on our fingers, but it's not a lot and nothing really spilled. And then as y'all can see, look, the oil look hecka dirty. It look like it's chocolate milk, so it's a good thing we ended up changing it. And then once again, just in case y'all thought I was lying about the wind, look at how the oil start dancing. look, the wind starts pushing against it, so it starts dancing. Alright, so then after that, you just want to, plug up the drain plug. I wasn't able to record myself taking off the old oil filter. It was kind of in an awkward position, so I couldn't really set up the camera well. But here's me adding some oil to the new oil filter. I did pour some inside, and I am just going to put some around the seal, just to, that way when I put it on, it makes a perfect seal. Alright, so obviously after that, you put on the new oil filter, and then you're ready to add the new oil. Make sure you check your owner's manual to see how much oil is required for your car. For my car, it's about 4 quarts, give or take. And if you guys haven't been able to tell, the oil we are going to be using is Mobil 1. And then after you fill up the car, make sure you run the car for at least 5 to 10 minutes. That way the new oil can circulate throughout the engine, and then that way the oil levels will be more exact. Make sure you wipe off the dipstick before checking it, that way the oil level will be precise. And as y'all can see, we're a little bit above the first line, so I'm going to just add a tiny bit more, just so that way it could be more towards the middle. Alright, so after running the car for those 5 to 10 minutes, we can see that there is a little bit of oil buildup on the bottom of the cam seal. And here's a replacement part we'll be putting on. So in order to take it off, you just really need like a little pick or something to just pry it off. Alright, so once you get it off, you just want to kind of clean off the mating surface, just clean off all the excess oil it has around. That way when you put on the new seal, there won't be any issue. And to reinstall the new seal, it's just the same process. You just kind of push it in, and it'll just kind of get into place. Alright, so the final thing we'll be taking care of today is the bumper. I do have some zip ties, so I'm going to just put that in meanwhile. At least just to hold up the bumper together, so that way it doesn't fall when I'm driving. Using zip ties is pretty easy. You just wrap it around, you just put the little loop in, and you just tie it off, you pull it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Maybe you'll like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Hopefully you guys enjoy this little walkthrough. Like I said, I didn't have planned, to do a little voiceover, but the wind wasn't letting up, so hey, we had to do what we had to do.